Askreddit, what did you learn too late in life? That the answer was not at the bottom of a bottle. 54 years old, 1 year sober. Hey, I want to wish you the best in your sobriety. 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. I sincerely wish you the best. That the world is full of dumbasses. As one of them dumbasses, yeah, we're everywhere. I wasted 40 years of my life not owning a dog. Till despite my many shortfalls I didn't waste any of my 40 years. Glad you have a dog now. Maybe not late, but wish I had learnt sooner how to be comfortable with saying no. I used to burn myself out and still do, but not as frequently when I try to please everyone. As a business owner you grow thicker skin and realize quickly you need to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. This is not just with business but in life as well. Schedule meetings with yourself when you're starting to get too busy. Say no. It's okay to say no. Don't say no to opportunity though. It's okay to help yourself once in a while. Knees are a lot more fragile than you think. Keep them away from arrows. I didn't learn how to study properly until college. School was too easy for me when I was young, so I was never challenged or taught how to learn. This made college much more difficult than it should be. In the United States it seems that public schools are made easy enough to pass the majority along without making them learn. I can't agree with you more. High school was such a cakewalk. Bare minimum effort got me to the top 10, and I thought college would be the same. I just wasn't ready for the hard work life had before me, and I wish I had been jammed into a magnet school or something really challenging. I see posts often enough about the gifted youngster failing through the rest of their life. I haven't failed, done well enough, but I wish I had had the discipline formed from academic challenges earlier in life. Nothing is handed to you on a silver platter, and life is hard. Success is earned through a tenacious, unrelenting drive to succeed, and I wish I had cultivated that from an earlier age. I wish I had learned that I'm not immune to growing older, and that my metabolism would slow, and that being healthy meant being vigilant with my diet and exercise. I'm not that old, but I just wish 21-year-old me had known what 10 years of poor diet and exercise would yield. I like to think he would have made some better choices and built some better habits. After having neglected my health for 10 years from my mid-teens to my mid-20s, exercise and eating right since January has pulled me through my darkest days and given me a reason to keep going. It's astounding how much of an effect it has on not only your body but also your mental state. It keeps me straight and I feel better for it. You don't have to rely on anyone else to keep your health in check. A little bit of research on the internet will give you enough to get started. The trick is to make small sustainable changes to your lifestyle over time that build good habits. Changing everything all at once will leave you feeling burned out and demotivated because the results will likely be underwhelming. Consistency over longer periods of time is what is most important, and I'm glad I started doing it now, while I'm still in my prime, so I can look and feel better overall and enjoy what's left of my youth. The only regret I have is not starting earlier. Most people are not capable of being close with most people. And I am not one of the rare exceptions to this. Most people I meet are not potential friends, just like most fish that take notice of my lure will not become my dinner. Finding your people is a numbers game. You have to meet and talk with a lot of people, and let things cool off and peter out with most of them, in order to slowly build up a solid base of good friends who stick around. I once read a book about cross-cultural communication, and it made a generalization that struck me. Americans tend to see everyone they meet as a potential friend, and seldom realize that this is far from universal. I can't speak for every American, but I am American born and raised, and definitely grew up with this assumption culturally. When my 7-year-olds cry on my shoulder about unkind treatment they've received from people, I try to normalize the fact that not everyone is going to like them, and they shouldn't expect to get along with everyone. I try to teach them to trust and open up to people slowly, to gravitate toward people who make them feel similar to their loving family members, and to do their best to ignore and keep their distance from people who make them feel bad about themselves. I also tell them constantly that they should never stop meeting lots of different kinds of people. I should have pizzaed instead of French frying. Did you have a bad time? That I'm not as beautiful as my mom told me. I doubt that. Stretching and being flexible at young age is a great advantage. physically but even more so intellectually. Do what you want, not what other people think you want. Punctuation. Use it. Buying stuff won't make you happy. You will end up with a lot of shit that you never use and accustomed to luxuries that you take for granted that really don't make your life any better. I bet shit I use all the freaking time, but it makes me broke, so I get less happy about that. That Joaquin Phoenix is the brother of River Phoenix. I found that out just last week. How did you find out? Investing. If you can put $2,000 a year into a savings account between 19 to 26, you'll have a much better retirement than saving $2,000 per year from 26 to 65, assuming same interest rates. Why is that? Is it due to interest rates being at all-time low that borrowing money increases, thus upping your return gain? To think out of the box. Tell us too. How interesting maths and languages are. I hated them when I was in school. Now they're fascinating to me, but they're just a hobby, and, with maths especially, it's not really the kind of thing that you can take classes in recreationally. Khan Academy and suchlike are great, but there's something about sitting in a classroom that aids understanding in a way that makes me wish I'd carried on with it a little after 16. Khan Academy and suchlike are great, but there's something about sitting in a classroom that aids understanding in a way that makes me wish. Can you tell this to my community college? So many of my required courses are only available online. I'm doing so bad in those courses because I can't ask a question when I need it answered or meet classmates who might like to study together. Time is fleeting. You really don't get that much of it, and there is no warning before you run out. This hits hard. Sorry for controversial, but I really learned too late in life that there probably is no God. Do you feel it made you better or worse? I had the same realization just before I turned 30. But I married young, so by then I had a wife, kids, career. I'm struck now by how much sex I turned down in my teens and how much time I wasted being good. But on the flip side, I appreciate having a family young and an amazing spouse, no baggage, etc. I am not convinced I'd be better off without those years of being religious. Curious to hear from other people with similar experiences. Recently got diagnosed with ADD at the age of 27. This explains so much about my childhood and my struggles of everyday life. Happened to me at 25 after a suicide attempt. As great as I feel now that I got prescribed the right medication, it would have been so much more awesome to have had that 10 years earlier, when every day in school was a struggle just to stay awake and pay attention to what was going on instead of being sidetracked by any and every distraction and daydream that would pop into my head. Always listen to your parents. Not all parents are created equal. Please subscribe. Multiple videos uploaded daily.